Hi, my name is Jemedy. I want to try to explain one of the peer-reviewed journal published this year. The name of the review is Toxicity of Mercury and Molecular Evidence. So, as everyone knows, mercury is a transition metal. It is liquid at room temperature. It is different characteristics, very heavy, expensive, very expensive commercially, and highly reactive substance with anything. So it is highly toxic too. So this review explains the toxicity of mercurian compound, mostly organic and inorganic mercurian compound. Some are just single compound of mercury when it is oxidized, elemental mercury oxidized to mercury too. So this is the recap. So they are involved in the environment, teratogenic and neurotoxic, mainly induce cell death and the production of reactive oxygen species, exposure-induced gene involving many biochemical processes, is inorganic one is mercury chloride. So the organic one is methyl mercury. So these are the recap, and that's how the review organized the peer review journal. This is the graphical representation. So mostly they use inorganic and organic. So where it is found, how it is affected, and which animal is mostly affected, where is what problem, identification of molecular evidence with experimental data. It's mostly credible data, as the review is a peer review. So all form of mercury induce toxic effect in mammals. The mammals is the one, so that's including human being. Although the effect mechanism of mercurian toxicity is highly growing now, but the knowledge gap exists to avoid this effect. The mechanism of mercury toxicity study in vivo and in vitro analyzed that this disruption of antioxidants plays an important role. However, the signal transduction pathway in enzyme and protein activity signal and gene regulation result in mediating toxicity and adaptive response to mercurian exposure. There's still further study need to be proved how and when these effects can completely identify to cure this toxicity, because most of the thing is happening. It is because of mercurian toxicity, but experimentally some molecular evidence is not found yet. Two important questions try to answer for this review. That's what are the key issue linked to mercury and exposure, and what important gap on the current knowledge of mechanism. So, for example, some of the countries most experienced about this: Japan and Iraq. Yeah, yeah. Now recently found toxic effect in mammal and other wildlife, just like birds and fish-eating animals. In the world now, what is identified, what is demonstrated, and what is described for this experiment is mercury is from natural anthropogenic sources and remission from past activity that are estimated from 6,000 to 11,000 tons a year. So mercury occurred in three different forms, like I said at the start: elemental form, single mercury, or mercury 2, or mercury 0. Mercury 0 is not affected, not highly toxic, but mercury 2, it is. Organic, so metal mercury when reacted with organic compound. So inorganic when it is reacted with chlorine atom. So those are mobilizing in the atmosphere, in the land, in the ocean. The average total gaseous mercury identified in Europe is 1.98 nanogram per meter cube. That's density. But the particulate and the reactive mercury is 56 and 22 nanogram per meter cube respectively. In the US, also, exposure of mercury with the newborn children are extremely high and highly reactive with the blood, similarly with a wild animal such as sea mammal and mostly fish-eating animals are described in this paper. So in molecular evidence, this review also describe some other data. So mostly in animals, exposure of mercury compound mainly effect on severe development in neurological system. In plant which primarily targeting chloroplast, which mainly influence of the photosystem. Combination of organic, which is like I say, organic is mostly organic react with carbon compounds as methyl mercury. It can be ethyl mercury too, but methyl mercury is mostly known. And inorganic mercury, so mercury chloride exposures, which is causes a disease such as apoptosis in lymphocyte in the blood, myogenic cell in monocyte, induce apoptosis and necrosis. That's mainly killing the cell. That's mostly is highly toxic at that age. In conclusion, elemental mercury is less exposure in the environment compared to organic and inorganic mercury, although there are certain evidence show that organic and inorganic mercury share a common features. However, the major cause with the mercurian compound to human, but I mean, but there are some evidence to this organic and inorganic Mercurian compound share, but the evidence is not that clear in molecular level, as the experiments say, or the paper just published at the end. However, the major causes with Mercurian compound is still identified to human beings, such as cytotoxicity, nephrotoxicity, immunotoxicity, and so many other diseases are described, including the humans and other animals. So, inorganic and organic mercury leads to so many ideas, just like in wildlife: oxidative response, protein folding, metabolic process, transport, transcription factors, immune response, DNA repair, and so many folds. Indirect and sublethal effect of health of organism all remain a major challenge, so there are further study need to be identified in the futures, as we see.